everyone. Welcome back to Virtue Signal, the podcast about being moral in amoral times. I'm here with Taylor Meanswell.
Hello.
I'm here with Andre Kello.
Hey.
And we're here to talk about the Robert Altman 1973 film, The Long Goodbye. It is a film about a detective, Philip Marlowe, and he has a cat, and he is a father to his cat, although perhaps not the best father to his cat, so I just wanted to tie it into a Father's Day theme. Today is Father's Day, after all. But we're going to be talking about The Long Goodbye in terms of genre. It's a detective film in terms of Robert Altman's whole deal. I like talking about it in terms of gender, which is a lot. But it is a really delightful movie. Once you get through the slurs and the blackface in the beginning, which is rough, but also sort of like careening and wild, it's a really solid movie. I really enjoyed it. What do you guys think? Did you like it?
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I really needed something a little smoother.
Cleanse the palate.
More easygoing.
It's very funny and entertaining from beginning to end.
Yeah, I like how everybody loves him. He just like wanders around and like people fall in love with him.
Even the cops that are beating him up seem to enjoy being around him.
Yeah. I really like how environmental this movie is. It's very like one from just like, the bizarre setup of his apartment building is so weird. I've never seen a building like that in my life. And I was like, is this it must be an LA thing or something. And it was just so strange and how he just wanders around. And I love how he's constantly like narrating. Like he's always like having like a narrating what he's going through or whatever. He's like, so he's like, everything's groovy, basically.
Well, it's sort of for his own benefit more than for the listener or the viewer, right? It's like something closer to what an actual internal monologue would be like. Unlike, say, for example, like the bad voiceover from the version of Blade Runner that everybody hates, where Harrison Ford just recapitulates everything you already know about the plot every few minutes. Yeah,
I also loved how there's moments in this film where he smokes cigarettes constantly. And there are moments in the movie where he is delivering dialogue, not like an internal monologue, but straight up dialogue, but visually he is smoking a cigarette and you cannot see, and he's not saying those words. So it's like this very like...
Yeah, there's a lot of ADR, a lot of additional dialogue.
And they didn't really do a great job, making that,
Well, I don't know that you really need to do a super duper job because the camera is so far away from them in every single shot of the movie that it's
every single shot.
Often you can't see anybody's mouth.
No, there's some like claustrophobic scenes, I think, with the Ernest Hemingway type guy, Roger Wade. Yeah, they do some close-ups there. There
are close-ups, but they are long lens close-ups.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, which is to say that there's a thing that Robert Altman does in almost all of his movies, pretty much all of his movies, where, and this is one of the things I love about him, and it's the thing that gets stolen by the most people who are trying to rip him off, is that he uses really long lenses, even when he's doing a close-up, and he uses radio mics for those scenes, lavalier wireless microphones. And as a result, the actors have an enormous amount of freedom because he can shoot his movie through a window and there's no boom because everybody's got a wireless radio mic on. So if you're acting in a scene that's, say, for example, in the apartment of the gangster, right?
Marty Augustine.
Augustine, that's right. They can put mics on everybody and shoot through a window, and it's like you're not even in a movie, right? You're just in a room with some people talking to each other.
Yeah. Great
They do this a lot in Friday Night Lights.
Great performance from the guy who played Marty Augustine.
Great performances from
everybody. Everybody does a great job. Sterling Hayden's astonishing.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah, it's so good. I also thought, like, some of the, like, fun 1970s-ness of it was really charming to me. Like, I was talking to Andre earlier about how, like, when, in the beginning of the film, he opens up his fridge, and the fridge has, like, this little, like, row where you can put your, like, loose eggs instead of, like, having an actual carton because, your eggs are being delivered by, like, the milkman or whatever. So I thought that was kind of funny. I also like just like the cute little human stuff. Like he salts the eggs before he gives it to his cat, which reminded me so much of this guy I used to work for. He used to put olive oil on his dog's dog food. And I'd be like, why would you do that? He's like, well, he deserves to have it to taste nice. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Oh my God.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Adding olive oil to packaged food that's pro move, actually.
Yeah.
And I do recommend if anybody's getting a jar of tomato sauce for their pasta, just add like a couple of tablespoons, maybe a quarter cup of olive oil. It makes a huge difference.
Okay, but like, what's this? I mean, diarrhea? Like, I feel like that's
Right. If something has a risk, and I trust my training, of course, I trust my bond with the dog, but if there's a risk of something shitting on my carpet, I'm not feeding it extra olive oil.
Yeah, exactly.
Point blank.
Yeah, and this is a Portuguese water dog, and he was very poorly trained. So, yeah.
But hypoallergenic. So it makes, it turns and roundabouts.
His name was Rex after the New York football coach.
Rex Ryan.
Yeah, he was named
of the New York Jets.
The dog was named after Rex Ryan of the New York Jets. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I like that. I like the just how spatially motivated everything is. I like that he goes back and forth to Mexico. I like how
God, Mexico's gorgeous in this film.
Oh God, yeah.
They make it look like a paradise. It looks like Eden.
I know, it really does. And it's just like, I think there's a kind of loneliness to the film too that I really liked, and I think that's part of what his internal monologues are about. Is like, because it's him against the entire world. Like, even his friends aren't like really his friends. His friends fuck him over. They put him in this terrible position.
Everybody manipulates him, which is consistent with like a traditional film noir approach, other depictions of Philip Marlowe. This is just something that happens to Philip Marlowe.
Yeah. He's just constantly being manipulated and used, and so he's lonely, and I really like this lonely, spacious picture a lot. I think what was I going to say? One thing I just kept writing is these prices. Oh my God.
Yes, this is America in 1973, and it was the beginning of that chart that everybody always shares, where it shows the where productivity like escapes the rise in wages, and wages just remain flat.
What's funny, though, is they still talk about it as if it's not that. Like, there's Harry at one point says, I can remember when people just had jobs. Like, they are still experiencing it as, like, a kind of crisis that they're in financially and economically. And it's like, no, dude, this is paradise. You don't even have AI. You have, like, that's actually Arnold Schwarzenegger there. Like, yeah, I think, was that his first appearance? I think it was.
This is very, very early in his career. It may be the first time he ever appears in a Hollywood film. He is in those documentaries about bodybuilders, the pumping iron documentaries. And I think that might have been like contemporaneous.
Yeah. I'm obsessed.
He doesn't more or less appear in any films like in a real way for many years.
Listeners, he appears as like a bodyguard / henchman for Marty Augustine, who is maybe one of my favorite comic villains of all time. I'm obsessed with Marty Augustine. I think he's hilarious. When he makes everybody take off their clothes, it's so good. And then like they have a hard time like walking around with it's great. He's a psychopath, but he's like a delight. I don't know.
It is weird seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger at that age with his shirt off, and just like in a Robert Altman movie, he
looks short in it. He was like, is Arnold Schwarzenegger short?
Why? He's towering over everybody else in the scene.
Yeah, but he still doesn't look like, I don't know. He didn't seem as larger than life as he usually does for me, I guess.
That's the long lens. I don't know if that's true.
No. It definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right? No, if you'd shot that exact same thing with a wide angle lens, he would have towered over them.
So one thing my dad used to always say is like, he used to watch these movies from the 70s and he'd always say, oh, you couldn't make this today. You couldn't, like.
Meanwhile, everybody wants to make The Long Goodbye over and over again.
Like, he would always say that about Back to School, which is like, okay, sure, sort of, not really. But he would always say it, and boomers always say this about Blazing Saddles. He's like, we watched Blazing Saddles again. You could never make this today. I was like, Tarantino makes that movie every year. Like, everybody is making Blazing Saddles all the time.
I'd like to interject with a note that I made along this line, if that's okay. I'm worried that this is stupid or trite observation to say, but what I wrote down, did people interact differently before canceling? You get the distinct impression watching this movie that nobody Marlowe speaks to or who speaks to Marlowe, the main character, cares if you're offended or if there will be consequences for rudeness.
I think what it is it's about community. Like, even though I just got done saying that it's about loneliness and like sort of being isolated in your community, and especially as part of your labor, which is your job as a detective, these people all seem really in on it. Like, no matter who's, like, Marty Augustine is like, yeah, no, I'm dabbling in anti-Semitic stereotypes and I'm having a blast. Like, like we're doing, like, it seems like everyone's in on it, and therefore the canceling wouldn't really be possible. I think cancel culture is a result of atomization, of people being super separated from each other in a lot of ways. Not that think that like, I mean, obviously there's cancel culture is a mixed bag. Like in some ways I kind of like it, in some ways I don't, but I think that's why, to answer your question.
Well, in 1973 in Los Angeles, coolness was pretty important.
Yeah.
People wanted to be cool. They wanted to be seen as being cool by others. They wanted to be cooler than other people.
Oh, God.
And what is cooler than, like, using slurs?
Okay,
we see this today now.
Oh, yeah. The kids think it's fun. They think it's cool to say the R word, right?
There's all kinds of stuff that is, like, making a resurgence because it's an attempt to build some kind of relationship with cred in a world where everybody exists exclusively as a video that you're seeing that they recorded at their desk in their house.
I remember saying a word. I can't remember what it was. In high school, it was like some slang term, and I did not know what I was saying, and I said it, and people were like, "What are you talking about?" And it was like, it's like one of those like intrusive thoughts I have late at night, and I remember when I said, I can't even remember what it was, but I said something like really, I don't know, like maybe it was epic. I don't remember what it was. It was something stupid, and there's no shame like that. But anyway, speaking back to coolness, so they're wearing these cool outfits, they're smoking tons of cigarettes, they're doing drugs and drinking a lot of booze. You just know it smells terrible.
I wanted to comment on that. Marlowe seems at times stubbornly attracted to these class signifiers in the form of a shirt and a necktie, right? Meanwhile, he's just like gross, And I had another thought watching this, that I'm so glad I grew up in the post-cigarette era.
Yeah.
I was, probably 10 or so when those sweeping public bans started to hit state by state. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, he's smoking these cigarettes for the entire film, dear listener, the entire film. And I'm like, you're wearing a tie. That tie is going to smell like cigarettes. And just millions of people live their whole lives without even thinking of that.
Yeah.
He smokes in the grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just like, and also like there's so much polyester. Like it's very flammable.
Well, this was a time when people were often dying because they fell asleep with a cigarette in their mouth.
Yeah, which is awful. But yeah, one of the ways in which this movie also evinces this environmental status, I think, is I love the way that people, and by I mean I kind of hate, because I think it's really sexist, like the way that they use women are like posed and figured throughout this film makes them out to be an environment rather than individuals with interiority. Like the girls who like live above him in the apartment complex, whom I think actually, if we did that movie today, they would be the stars of the film and it would be the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Though they're always so far away from the camera, they sort of, to me, felt like the people in the background in Street Fighter 2. They're just like, repeating animations while the story is happening in the foreground.
I was writing fan fiction of them in my head the entire movie I was watching, and I was like, what if we did like the Scottish play and they were the witches? Like, what if we did?
Everybody who encounters them throughout the film is like, what is their deal?
Like, what's going on? And then
the cops are like, what is going on over there?
You know what I think? I think they're lesbians, and he's like, they're doing yoga. I don't know what yoga is, but I think that's what they're doing. I love them.
Even Marlowe, who lives next to them and knows a lot about them and talks to them all the time,
does errands for them.
No clue what's going on.
He does errands for them.
Yeah.
He does errands for them, and importantly, the most endearing thing about him is that he has no sexual interest in these hot topless women whatsoever.
No, he's like,
and it's not because he's asexual or even gay. He is hitting on the women he encounters throughout the rest of the film. It's just that they are not on the menu.
Yeah, he's like their older brother, just like kind of there to hang out.
Well, they are sort of like the cat.
Yeah. Oh, there's a part actually I wanted to mention to speak back to the environmental thing. The cat, when in the brief appearance that the cat does make at the beginning of the film, it sort of blends in like the orangeness of the furniture and the cat. So the cat also is really instrumental to creating this like space. I loved it. It felt like environmental theater to me, the whole thing.
I want to follow that thread. I made a note here about... This is a silly thing to say on the surface, but I think I have a point that I'm trying to make here. LA is underrated as a movie setting. Right?
Okay, tell me more.
Well, compared to New York City, which has, which is like the most recurring character in all of cinema is New York City, right? Yeah. In LA, you shoot pretending that it's somewhere else.
Yeah,
for the most part.
This is a great LA movie, I think.
It features prominently in the documentary Los Angeles Plays Itself, which is about films that were shot in Los Angeles and also set in Los Angeles, and you get a sense through all these montages of different films that every inch of the city has been shot, right? And often in stuff that you might not have seen, partly because the reason you shoot in Los Angeles is because you don't have the money to go anywhere, right?
Which used to be actually why people shot in New York too.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's another way that this movie feels so lived in is like the characters perform these very specific, weird social tics in their efforts to communicate to each other or like relate. Like what is with the wife and the fucking dried apricots? Like it's so weird. Like she's like, "Would you like a dried apricot?" It's like, and I was like, "Are you? I mean, maybe you have an eating disorder."
Well, there's one of the things that's going on in the film, which is this. Like the contrast between Philip Marlowe, who is living his life like he's a film noir character from the 40s, and the people he encounters who are living in 1973 Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles in 1973, there's this whole health thing that everyone is doing, the body thing, everybody trying to be healthy. She
doesn't smoke, right.
Right.
There's also like that, but I think it really speaks to the like utter precarious nightmare world that we live in right now, where we look at The Long Goodbye as a movie about community, when, as you're saying, it's a movie about a guy who's like occupying the tropes of a past, interacting with the present, with the very real and vital present. And like that's supposed to be like, that's kind of the long goodbye of it all, right? It's like sort of like saying goodbye to this past and trying to learn how to be part of the future.
Which is why the film ends with a rendition of Hooray for Hollywood.
Yes. Yeah, I think so I think that's part of that, and I just think it's really interesting that I think we're supposed to register this as in like conventional noir which is like we're all alienated from each other, capital poisons relationships, women are whores, whatever. We're supposed to take that away from it, but like I see it as like this great movie about this community and this city and this great world they live in. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah, the noir complaint about cities, specifically about Los Angeles, and stuff like, say, for example, Kiss Me Deadly, or Chinatown. Yeah. Chinatown, which comes after this, partly because this movie inspired so many people at the time and even today, right? There are so many films that are like, we want to do Long Goodbye again.
Elliot Gould, one of the coolest fucking dudes. I mean, his performance of that character, I'm just like, I want to like be you. Like you're so cool. I want to like smooch you and be you. Like it's so
I spent a long time repeating a mission in Grand Theft Auto yesterday that had terrible voice acting, just felt so contrived and overdone. And so to see Elliot Gould just kind of like be without being, move without striving. He had a Tao to his acting in this film that I really appreciated.
You mentioned Grand Theft Auto, and there is a very video game element to the way that this movie moves in time. It has a real like LucasArts graphic adventure, point and click, collect items and talk to people, and like the video game L.A. Noire, right, which is about cops in the I think it's the 40s, and they're trying to solve this mystery. And, you look at something like L.A. Confidential, right? There's a long tradition of these kinds of noir detective stories being set in Los Angeles. And I think that the randomness, right? Like in video games and tabletop RPGs, you roll dice, right? You use a random number generator to find out what the outcome of your actions are. And it gives stakes to the things that you do. And this guy is constantly sort of being hurled through space and time into random interactions. He seems to be like mostly uninterested in what's going on around him, because it seems like he understands that the things that are happening are completely outside of his control.
Well, this is what Taylor was indicating with her invocation of the Tao Te Ching. This is totally like he has like what was the term? He embodies the
Wu Wei.
The Wu Wei, yeah, and that's what you see it in like with the internal monologue. Like, that's all right, baby, like he's sort of like, oh yeah, that's fine with me. He's always like, oh, that's okay, that's fine.
I was struck by his calm and his utter, I don't mean it in a bad way, passivity.
When he's there's never like even scared, even when the cops are dragging him into a cell to be tortured.
No, when they were threatening to cut off his dick, I was like, he's implacable. Like, there's nothing.
And the other thing is that...
And he's almost got a sense of humor constantly.
Yeah.
Everybody he encounters seems to believe that the things that are occurring in front of them shouldn't be happening. Mm-hmm. Everybody's constantly, like, shocked and disgusted by the things that are just happening.
I really like how, like, Sterling Hayden responds to this character, because he's like, Sterling Hayden is a guy who's completely controlled by his emotions. He's one of those guys who like calls women hysterical, meanwhile being like the most unhinged hysterical person you ever met in your life. And he is, and he continually demonstrates that behavior. And he's just like this, like, he's like, not to be pop psychology, but he's like gray rocking him the entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like really satisfying to see, like, especially in our like current, like, we're a nation run by narcissists, and it's like, oh yeah, we can just sort of like, and this is like what happens with Elon Musk, right? Is like, he can't handle it if someone like doesn't engage, you know what I mean? And he like has these hissy fits, and I don't know, that it just reminded me of that, like, oh, this is just, this kind of guy has always been important in figures in our lives, and here's how you deal with it, you know? Yeah.
Were both of you able to figure out what happens in the film?
So I think
so.
Taylor, I will invite you if you don't mind.
Well, I'll admit to consulting the plot summary on Wikipedia to kind of verify, like,
I did the same
here's
thing.
what I think.
Yeah.
Here, what do you think? I think that the one guy, forgive me, he looks kind of like Val Kilmer, but he's not Val Kilmer. Yeah, Terry. He's got the scratch on his face at the beginning of the movie. I think he tried to do Marlowe dirty. Mm-hmm.
Terry Lennox
almost got away with it too.
Yeah, and so what I wanted to know is, like, so when Marty Augustine magically receives the money right in the nick of time,
right?
Was that being like wired to him from Terry?
Not wired, because the actual cash was being delivered in a bag.
Yeah, that's right. So how did he
I
make that
assumed it was
happen?
Eileen.
It was Eileen.
I assumed that Eileen was in cahoots.
But how did she do it? I mean, she was in cahoots with Terry. Yeah.
How did she do it?
It's just dropped off. That's what Marlowe says in the scene. Mm-hmm. He says, when your little fairy delivers this money to Augustine, right? Mm-hmm. And he's talking about her.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was okay, so full disclosure day listeners, I am fucking stupid when it comes to plot in movies. Like, I am dumb as shit. I cannot like follow plots that are simple. Like, I have gotten lost watching, no, this is an exaggeration, but like, I have watched like episodes of Murder, She Wrote where I was a little bit at sea. Like, I am dumb. I'm a dumb, stupid bitch. So I struggled with this plot-wise, but I was just so enchanted by
You don't have to feel bad about struggling with The Long Goodbyes plot, partly because it is deliberately constructed in such a way where the parts don't make sense put together, but also because Raymond Chandler, is notorious for for the paradox of the well-constructed plot that is made up of nonsense that doesn't fit together.
No, I remember when I read The Big Sleep when I was a teenager, I was like, I have no fucking clue what happened in this book. And then I watched the movie and I was like, I have no idea. And then I remember seeing, like, when they were making the movie of The Big Sleep, they called Raymond Chandler on the phone and he was like, hey, I'm trying to figure out, like, the ending. Can you explain the ending? And Raymond Chandler was like, no. He's like, I was drunk as shit the whole time I was writing that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He really said Eraserhead is my most spiritual film.
Yes. No. Yeah, I love that.
I like the element of film noir detective stories where it seems like kind of impossible to know what's happening.
See, I don't know. I think because as a theater historian and like my knowledge of the well-made play and like how it can be done and like, like William Wycherley and like guys like that writing these like perfect plots. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I miss that. There's something about cinema that like yearns for fragmentation that I guess the plays don't.
Well, I think that the reason that World War II is the turning point in when these stories start to become like the filmmakers start to get like excited about the idea of making a bunch of nonsense is because one of the things that was said about the U.S. Army during World War II is that it was incredibly chaotic and anarchic. And when you watch movies about World War II that were made in the 1960s and 70s, during the American Cultural Revolution, they depict a version of World War II that we don't see in movies that were made at the time, where chaos reigns. Nobody's clear who good guys and bad guys are. Nobody really knows whether any individual person is alive or dead. It's unclear what the value of individual missions are, right? It's just a big chaotic mess, something close to like the what's depicted in Dante's Inferno as being, the fate of people guilty of the sin of wrath, right? Just, violence in every direction, and people are killed and then immediately returned to the battle. Because it really doesn't matter, right? It is a fantasy to imagine that these things can be made into something that is sensible.
Yeah, and I think also to that point, it's notable to me that they mentioned HUAC in the movie, which is relevant to this conversation because Sterling Hayden got in trouble. He was originally, and when he was quite young, was really interested in communist politics and like was working with different various parties, as an actor and organizing. However, HUAC comes around, he gets on the list. They're talking about like taking away his custody of his children. Sheesh. So he does a mea culpa and names names. To my understanding though, however, I actually kind of don't begrudge him because I think honestly, if they told me they were going to take away my kid, I probably would start naming names too. I'm going to be real with you.
That's a tough one.
Like I would probably do the same thing. So it's kind of interesting that that history was so legible in the movie.
I don't think you would.
You don't think I would? I think I would. If I lost custody of my kid. You don't think I would?
No, because you're a good person.
I'm not that good of a person. I don't know. I would do it if I could kill myself right after.
The thing is that nobody is ever able to know for sure how they would behave in these hypothetical scenarios. You never know until they're pointing the gun in your face.
Yeah.
It's like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Can I tell you my two favorite lines in the film? One is said by Sterling Hayden. The other one is said by Marlowe. I can't remember who Marlowe says. He goes, "Fuck you. Well, stand in line, baby. Come on." I love that. But my favorite line is Sterling Hayden says, "Possession of noses, possession of gonads, possession of life."
The beautiful poetry of the language in the film, it never lets you down.
I do really like, this is such a hard thing to do, but they accomplished it. Okay, when you're depicting an artist or some sort of creative person in a film or a book or whatever, you never want to remind the audience of a better version of the thing that is.
That's the Tom Servo motto. That was something that Tom Servo says in Overdrawn at the Memory Bank episode of Mystery Science Theater.
So that they do the impossible. Roger Wade is a fucking hell of a writer, and we hear the way he speaks, and it's like, wow, you did it. You fucking accomplished it. That's amazing. I love that part.
Yeah, but also it's like a part of Raymond Chandler and also just, noir in general is that the language is
integral.
Yeah, it's more or less the only thing that reflects the beauty and creativity of the human beings in the narrative because everything else is so ugly.
Which is why on TCM, the guy who talks about the noirs, he's always, whenever he talks about a shitty noir,
Eddie Muller. Yeah,
he always talks about it. He's like, and the execrable dialogue. It's like they didn't get the dialogue right and it doesn't work. It's such a tonal thing. You have to really nail it.
In Brick, which is the Rian Johnson film.
You love that movie.
I do love that movie, and the reason I love that movie is because Rian Johnson goes out of his way to make the language as inexplicable and opaque as he can. Mm-hmm. And there are big chunks of that where if you aren't prepared for it, you have no clue what they're even saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's I love.
Yeah, you love it. You love to have a hard time screwing something that's inscrutable.
Well, because my experience of other people talking is just a bunch of...
Really? You do often look at me like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I felt like maybe this is tying in with your characteristic of the noir genre. I felt like he muttered a lot at the beginning of the film, and then it kind of dropped off throughout, almost as if he forgot he was supposed to be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. That's true.
Well, I think that they turn it up during the parts where he's alone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Especially when he's, more or less talking to his cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cat gives a great performance.
Honestly.
And I was thinking about that not too long ago because it was directly mentioned by the filmmakers of Honey, Don't. Mm-hmm. Because they included a scene with a cat, and it's kind of a detective story. And, they discuss how difficult it was to direct a cat. You can't teach a cat to do things. So you simply have to keep rolling until the cat does what you want.
Well, it also really reminded me, it made me feel seen as the owner of a cat who isn't a cat person. Like, I'm just not, like, I'm always going to be dogs forever, dogs over cats all day, every day. But, like, because I think about my cat, like, I love my cat, but he is also my op in a lot of ways. Like, he's constantly, like, trying to find ways to make my day worse. And I like that our first introduction to his cat is not like them being cute or cuddling, but the cat being like fucking pissed and demanding food. And I was like, yeah. And like, what does it mean to be, as a, you know, a first time owner of a cat? It's like, what does it mean to love this thing that is effectively like reptile brain and like hates me? Like, I don't know. It's just so interesting to me. Yeah. Just even his cat doesn't like, you know, is giving him a hard time.
Well, I think that the reason we meet the cat first is because seeing how he interacts with the cat teaches us how we should expect him to interact with everyone else in the film.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah. He's annoyed by everybody he meets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is...
Even the women he's attracted to, but that's normal.
Which, you know, is a kind of like Woody Allen way of interacting with people for, you know, Los Angeles, which is supposed to be this place where everybody's really laid back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But that's the thing about Los Angeles. They always say it's laid back, and it's like, it kind of really isn't. Though.
But everybody's driven by anxiety.
Yeah.
Because it's such a shallow, materialistic visual place.
Yeah, yeah. Joan Didion would do this very well. Yeah.
I mean, I think that the film does sort of like talk about Los Angeles in Joan Didion terms, you know, as being this, like the setting for this weird fantasy.
Yeah. I also like the line about not being able to do where Wade says not being able to do what the writer does without knowing a lot about men's faces. Or no, I'm sorry. Does Marlowe say that?
Well, okay, so Wade and Marlowe are talking, and Roger Wade, the writer, you know, he talks about men, and then Marlowe brings up women.
Okay, yeah. So
this makes Wade furious.
Yeah. So he's like, you have to know a lot about men's faces, and Marlowe says, and women's faces, and he's like, no, and gets pissed. Yeah.
Well, because I think he's thinking about Marlowe trying to have sex with his wife.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I guess that's a reasonable...
Which in reality, it was actually Terry Lennox who was having the affair with Roger Wade's wife. And Roger Wade was having an affair with Sylvia Lennox.
I like the little theater they do when she cooks, quote unquote, him dinner. And is like, oh, you did all this? She's like, yep. You did the dishes too? She's like, yep. And it's so funny. It was like, reminds me of my mom acting like she was like, Mom, you don't do anything. Yeah. I love that. The delusions of rich white women, you know?
There's a moment when, I mean, throughout the film, Philip Marlowe, Elliot Gould, you know, he sort of expects every single person he encounters to lie to him all the time.
Yeah. Well, he's a detective. I mean, of course, that's like,
right.
Yeah.
But he's like okay with it. And then at the beach, after Roger Wade walks into the ocean and the police show up, he's trying to get Wade's wife to like admit to the truth,
and he gets hysterical about it.
He gets very hysterical. He's holding the booze in his hand and gesturing wildly and shouting and grabbing her. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. He just wants to know a little bit of truth.
Yeah. I would like to talk about this movie also in terms of cat versus dog, because I love the scene when he goes into the ocean, when Roger Wade goes into the ocean, and the dog, the like Doberman Pinscher, gets the cane that he took in with him. He goes and I was like, oh, I thought that was really sweet, but I think it was maybe not intended to be sweet. Maybe it was supposed to be just like, wow, that's nature, you know, like the dog doesn't care. The dog just, you know, treats this as like anything else.
It kind of reminded me of the scene from Under the Skin, where they the whole family gets washed into the ocean.
Okay.
Because one of the woman goes in after the dog, and then the guy goes in after the woman, and then the lifeguard goes in after the guy, and then eventually they're all dead, and then the baby is just left crying on the sand.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's...
Oh, yeah, people were circulating that on Twitter when people were like, what's a scene that haunts you or whatever.
Yeah, and you were watching that Jonathan Glazer's other film,
Zone of Interest.
Zone of Interest, just the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that he likes to let play out in a wide. And this whole movie is playing out in a wide, which is one of the reasons I think that you see it as being this environmental theater thing.
Yeah, and
it
also,
really does feel like a bunch of people just doing a series of little sketches on little stages, one by one, until the movie ends.
It also feels very Talmudic to me in that way. It's like, here's this thing that's happening. We can't do anything about it. Let's stand and bear witness to that. You know?
Right, like the cops, the way that the cops are just this sort of, like invincible force that can't do anything.
Yeah.
They never solve anything. They never, they arrest Philip Marlowe and that's it. They never do anything else.
He's so cool when he's in jail. Oh my God.
And it's what David Carradine that he's in the jail cell with.
It's so cool. I love that scene. I'm just like, this is the coolest guy I've ever seen. Also, remember this part where he's running after...
Oh, but before we go, the thing I love about that is the last thing that he says before he leaves Carradine in the cell, which is he says, "Remember, you're not in here, just your body."
Yeah. Just your body. I remember that. Oh, yeah. I also like just the interactions he has with strangers, like with the guy who gives him the whistle or a flute.
The harmonica.
The harmonica. Thank you.
Yeah. The thing that he uses it right at the very end as the credits start to roll, right? Because she's driving past him
and seeing him being like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Because do you think she has an inkling when she sees him in Mexico, like, oh shit, I'm gonna go back and Terry's gonna be dead? I was shocked when that happened. When he shoots him in the chest, I was like, holy shit.
No, I don't think that she would know. I don't think she would even suspect. I think, also, he's walking and she's in a car, so she has time to just go there, find out what happened, and then get back in the car and drive up to him and confront him. But, of course, as we've seen throughout the film, she doesn't seem to be capable of, successfully intimidating anybody, really.
Yeah, no. She's not a very powerful femme fatale, really.
There are all of these moments of this, ugly, terrifying cruelty to women in the film.
Oh, it's brutal, but I think her name is Joanne, the girlfriend of Marty Augustine.
And she gets the bottle smashed in her face.
And then
we see later all bandaged up, and there's also, he really did a number on her.
It's horrible, yeah. I felt really bad for that character. I was like, this woman is, effectively a slave. Yeah, that was awful. But that's also, one of my favorite things with, a villain like that, where it's this guy is, fucking Javier Bardem, but he's, funny. I don't know.
He was funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get the sense that it's supposed to be some sort of a commentary on Hollywood.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because he's always trying to get his shirt off.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Apparently the actor who played him didn't usually act. He normally directed stuff, but I was like, well, he held a performance in that film. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I would watch a whole spin-off movie based on that guy.
Yeah, it was great.
Are there any Jewish mob movies?
There's a ton, actually, yeah. The one that I recall from seeing it on HBO as a kid was the one that was about Meyer Lansky. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was Richard Dreyfuss as Lansky. Okay. Yeah. And Dreyfuss does a great job. He's a talented actor, And I think that probably, we mostly know about the history of the Italian mob in the United States of America, and to a lesser extent things like the Irish mob and stuff like that. But Murder Inc. They were a Jewish outfit that was operating for a very long time. Pretty nasty business. And there are a handful of films. I would say probably the stuff that's about Arnold Rothstein and the stuff that's about Meyer Lansky is going to be the stuff that's mostly 8 Men Out.
What about isn't Casino also?
Yeah, Casino. Right.
Casino's one of my.
But of course, Casino not a true story.
No, it's.
But yeah, it's about Jewish gangsters. Yeah,
Casino is one of my top 3 Scorsese for me. I love that movie. I love James Woods in that movie. It's great. Have you seen Casino, Taylor?
It's on my list.
It's great. You'll love it.
Okay, I'm excited.
Parts of it are very funny too. What are other? When this movie came out, it was a huge hit, right? I assume.
Altman made a lot of hits. This made good money. They were even talking about doing a sequel. It even up past Altman's death, Gould still wanted to do a sequel, and he was going to do it with Alan Rudolph. And if you watch the credits, Alan Rudolph was the second assistant director on the film.
Oh.
And Rudolph was the protege of Robert Altman, and Alan Rudolph would go on to make movies like The Moderns and Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle, things like that.
Elliot Gould, by the way, who is still alive. He's 87 years old.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was in the most recent season of Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh, wait,
which is another great LA thing about detectives.
The most dad thing about you, Andre, is your dedication and love for the multiple seasons of The Lincoln Lawyer that you have watched.
Oh, yeah.
It's so, like...
Lincoln Lawyer, Bosch Legacy.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Give me all of it.
He loves it. Yeah.
I want to talk about the film's disposition toward the police, and specifically the kind of liminal space occupied between... the law and the other side that private detectives occupy. Mm-hmm. Private detective was my first ever job that I wanted to be. That was the first thing I ever said when people would say,
agent.
Yeah, I wanted to, like, you know, solve the mysteries and be one step ahead and all of that. Yep. I wouldn't say that this is he doesn't have a Blue Lives Matter sticker on his car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
He refers to the police as pigs at one point.
Mm-hmm. When he's leaving the Wade's house, he's yelling at the pigs that they should die.
Yes.
I think he thinks that everybody is just an amateur to him, I think. I think he thinks, which I totally get, like, he just thinks everybody's a fucking idiot.
Well, he's incredibly frustrated that nobody seems to care that these people are dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Which
so
I totally
there's like the Punisher almost like sense of justice overcomes the respect for the institution.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
There's this great line, speaking of, in the jail where I can't remember if it's the cellmate or he runs into the grocery store clerk.
I love that part.
From earlier in the movie, somebody says, "Someday all the pigs are going to be in here," referring to the jail, "and all the people are going to be out there."
Yeah.
And I've never had anybody describe my, like, leftist but not abolitionist stance so clearly.
Well, I think I've said this on the pod before. One thing that the past few years have radicalized me toward is I actually am anti prison, but I'm pro death penalty at this point. Like, I don't think no one deserves to be in jail, but they do deserve to get their heads stripped
Eleanor proposes a kind of leftist Judge Dredd kind of scenario.
That's my idea. That's my premise, because I do, because I've worked in jails, I've spent time with people in jails. I just don't think there's like no one in the world deserves that. Death? Yes.
I think we should let people choose.
Okay,
you should get
fair.
to pick.
Yeah, you should get to pick.
You should get to pick.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. I don't think anyone should ever be killed or sent to prison.
That is not true. You are such a Mangione head. You love that guy.
Yeah. I do.
Nobody should be killed. Not all deaths are tragedies.
Yes.
Two things can be true.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you do one of these things, if something happens, like, let's say it happens.
Okay.
In the event that it happens and it's somebody who did it, you know what? I forgive you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What a radical act of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just have it like a glowing, peaceful, beautiful soul like that.
Oh yeah.
I say if reactionaries are allowed to, like, frame Jesus around whatever they already believed, so can we.
Sure.
We're free to do that.
I don't know. As someone who's deep into Charlie Kirk meme discourse across all social media platforms, it's kind of shocked that I actually have not had anyone post to write my professor about it yet.
Now, are you team exploding microphone battery?
Wait, no, I'm not. No.
Okay.
Wait, are you?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't think that's likely.
No, I think he got shot by a guy. I think he got kirked. There was a joke I saw someone the other day where someone was like, "Have you seen Charlie in the Chocolate Factory?" And he was like, "You mean Charlie Kirk in the Bullet Factory?" I just think about that all the time. Charlie Kirk in the Bullet Factory. I would watch that movie. Yeah. Anyway, why was I talking about Charlie?
Rest easy, King.
Yeah, rest easy. It's the first Father's Day, without Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the first parent of unspecified gender day. No, that's Ben Shapiro who does that joke. That wasn't Charlie.
I didn't. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Now, I believe that the plan is for next week for us to talk about the back rooms, also called the Kirk rooms.
The Kirk rooms. Yes. I kept forgetting the name of it. I'm calling it back shots sometimes. Yeah, so other thoughts, Andre, as an alt maniac. I wanted to talk to you specifically about like the treatment of women in this movie because like I know that Altman has it in him to treat women with interiority. He does it a few years later in Three Women and with all the work with Shelley Duvall and Angelica Houston.
I think even in this film there are moments
Yeah,
where
with
he's
Joanne, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, what happens to Joanne is brutal.
Yeah. I think what it is that Altman comes from. First, he comes from the army, then he comes from television. These are really butch places. And he makes a lot of very butch films about men and their relationships to one another. And I think that he learns and grows and, starts to figure out how to have women be a little bit more than punchlines.
Eventually,
because it is something in stuff like MASH and other things where women, especially women and their bodies and their sexuality, are used as a kind of slapstick.
Yeah, 100%. You can see that definitely in MASH. And he eventually, went on to work with famous feminist luminary Lindsay Lohan on Prayer Home Companion in 2005, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate a Prayer
That's
Home
the most
Companion,
dad thing about you.
No,
is that you know that.
That I know that, but it's for surprisingly woke reasons. I fucking hate Prairie Home Companion. I hate Garrison Keillor. I hate that shit. It was like in Iowa, you fucking people talk about it like it's like this great thing. It sucks. It's not funny. I don't like him. It's smug. It's toothless. I hate it. So that's my take on Garrison Keillor and fucking Prairie Home Companion.
It is sort of weird to see the guy who made this movie decide that, what's also my vibe? Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah, I don't know. Lake Wobegon away from here. Yeah.
Maybe that movie would have benefited from all the women having their tops off.
Yeah, maybe that would have been better.
Listen.
I also like noticing, so one thing Andre and I have talked about in the past is like, so there's this kind of thing in the 70s and mostly in the 80s because of aerobics where all the women have long butts. Notice this, like Jamie Lee Curtis had a very long butt in the 80s. And you think it's because of aerobics or some sort of...
It's styling, it's materials. There's that. It's the peak of Lycra.
Yeah. I was excited by like everyone
We have different shapewear technologies now.
Yeah. And then this movie wasn't so much about the long butts so much as just like the acorn boobs. Everyone has the same kind of boobs. It was interesting. The 70s boob.
Yeah. There was in the 60s there was Twiggy and all of these like skinny girls. And then I think in the 70s there's a move back towards a more full figure.
Yeah.
And you start to see at that time period also implants.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there were a lot of implants in this movie actually. Yeah. Like early breast implants.
The ones that were dangerous, the ones that gave you cancer.
The ones that like would pop and then you would die of cancer. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh. Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, silicone, don't even try.
Not even once. Yeah. I think other things about this movie that are interesting is its strange structure, how it sort of teeters between genre elements, how it's both like a testament of its time while also sort of challenging what we think of its time being in terms of like its relationship to the past with Marlowe as like a legacy character. What do you think?
Well, from a Deleuze Cinema perspective, it is very much a film that you're watching while it also being a kind of memory.
Cinema 2 in this economy? Yeah.
No, both of them. Yeah, like if you compare it to something like, say, for example, The Big Sleep, right? There is this thing in The Long Goodbye where you get a sense that the events that are occurring are kind of also not occurring, that they are a sort of fantastic projection. And there's this one guy who's got real humanity, and everyone he interacts with is a kind of cartoon character. But then in the other direction, like they probably feel that way about him.
Oh yeah.
Because like they're all confused and disgusted by him the same way that he's confused and disgusted by everybody he meets. And I think that there was this feeling about those kinds of movies by the baby boomers, that like they admired this stuff, but they also were committed to destroying the entire world that existed when they were born.
Yeah.
And so they have this conflicted relationship to the kind of masculinity, the kind of like genre tropes that you see in these noirs. they want to like indulge in the nostalgia of how they miss their childhood and the things they enjoyed as children, but they also acknowledge that that everything has to be destroyed and replaced.
It makes me think, like, I wonder how Roger Wade as a character was received when the film was first released. Like, would he have been seen as monstrous as he is now? Probably not, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the criticisms that people had at the time, from my understanding, were mostly about how the film is kind of incoherent.
Yeah.
Rather than it being about, like, anybody's behavior. I mean, in the 70s, people didn't really do that with movies.
Yeah.
They didn't, like, say, oh, the person shouldn't have done those things in that movie. I mean, it's fiction.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's, like, very, like... Yeah, that's true. The schools were still open at that time. People were still getting education.
Yeah, I think that an audience, like a general audience that can see and enjoy a movie like The Long Goodbye is so much smarter and more complex and sophisticated than any audience now.
Yeah, I thought about that because I was like, I'm like reading the Wikipedia article for my life, like trying to figure out what's going on. And like the idea of just like seeing that in the 70s and being like, oh, well, just let it happen to me, Yeah.
But it is part of also this early 70s thing about films representing drug experiences.
That's a really good point. Although this was such a booze movie, though.
It was, and I think that the booze element of it is the sort of nostalgic element.
But it also grounds it, really. Yeah. Yeah, I see that. For sure. And also like the kinds of booze that people drink. Like she's like, Eileen's like, oh, I'll stick with wine, or like Gould's like, I want a beer, but he's constantly being foisted like aquavit, and he's like, I don't want to drink. Which I only know what aquavit was from Vanderpump Rules. Yeah, it's.
No, we're watching The Simpsons from the beginning with our kid because he's never seen it. He's young.
He also doesn't understand any of the references, and it's actually kind of frustrating.
No, it's like teaching a cinema studies class. Every episode of The Simpsons, we are like, okay, and this is 12 Angry Men, and this part,
and this is Vertigo, and this is
right,
it's really frustrating. Yeah, but anyway.
And we see an episode where Mr. Burns takes Marge's mom on a picnic, and she drinks the glass of champagne that has the engagement ring in it. And yes. But Burns is he still has something planned because he's also hidden one in the pot of fondue.
Oh yeah.
And like a fondue pot at a picnic is hilarious, but it feels like this movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody is constantly doing the 70s-ist thing.
Yeah, and we were explaining fondue to our 8-year-old. It was interesting.
Right, everybody had fondue pots.
Yeah. I mean, I like the
fountains.
I love cheese.
Fountains of fondue.
Yeah. Mm.
Now, I've been to a thing that had like a cheese fountain. So gross.
Where?
It was some kind of like fundraiser in Philadelphia like 20 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That sounds gross.
Super gross. Hated it. Yeah. But I think that people were like trying at that point to figure out, what did they want the infinite excess of American consumerism to actually provide them. Mm-hmm. Like one of the moments that I thought was especially strange is toward the very end where we see the naked yoga women for the last time, and they're all just sitting on their balcony, huddled together, topless, wearing blue jeans.
Yeah.
Which is a weird look.
Yeah. I love them so much.
It's a sign of their like the counterculture being assimilated into consumerism.
Ooh.
Right? Because at the beginning of it, they're these like fairies. It's implied that they want to make pot brownies, and they're doing yoga and all that. And by the end, they're in Levi's.
That's a really good point.
Which is what they did to all of us, right? Yeah. Which is how they absorbed any revolutionary impulse.
Well, the blue jean is, I guess, a good like stand-in for what the change was. Right, because you see Philip Marlowe walking around, as you say, in the class signifying suit, right?
Stubbornly.
He's stuck in the past. Yeah. Won't wear the contemporary outfits.
Yeah.
And everybody else
won't get naked. Like
won't get naked. Yeah, he won't even take off his tie.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, because he is his clothes.
That actually is what inspired me to wear a jacket today. I was like, this guy.
So cool. I love him. He's great.
And, Los Angeles is hot. And Mexico is even hotter.
Yeah.
And here he is looking like shit, stomping through all these various environments, like plodding, stomp in his shoes, and it becomes kind of weirdly irrational that he's refusing to change his outfit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yes.
And so you get the sense that, like, it's at Los Angeles, but it's also sort of the world that is not suitable for this sort of person anymore.
It reminds me, like, we have pictures.
It's just too warm out.
We have pictures of my dad wearing pink and green plaid pants, like, well into the 80s. Like, things that were, like, acceptable in the 70s, but he's still wearing them in the 80s, and it was, like, an issue with my mom. My mom was, like, really embarrassed by it. But he was like, no, they're perfectly good pants. I'm gonna keep wearing them. Like, just sort of, like, immune to, like, the concept of, like, being shamed or embarrassed. Because, like, what are you talking about? I'm a white guy in the 80s. What's gonna happen to me? A straight white guy in the 80s. There's kind of unflappability there,
Boomers in the 80s probably thought they had conquered the planet.
I mean, they did.
Like, they more or less solved every problem in the world. They were going to live forever and all be millionaires. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were right.
Well, yeah, they're still here.
They're still here. They're still in office. Yeah.
Taps watch.
Like the last people that even get to be grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? Because now everybody has a kid when they're 35, which means that, like, you don't get to see, you don't even have your child have a child until you're 70.
I fucking hate it, dude. Like, can people just have kids, like, earlier? Like, so I wasn't completely alone. It's like, I really did feel so fucking alone having a kid at 29. Like, I feel like it's just, now all my friends have toddlers, and I'm like, cool, I already did that. Ugh, drives me crazy. It's so lonely.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. It's like, I remember you were talking when we first found out we were gonna have a baby, you were like trying to find some sort of community of, like, dads. Like, is there, like, some sort of, like, thing? It's like, no, not really.
Yeah. Not for people my age, no.
Yeah, and also, like, social media mom stuff is like, oh god, it's all plagued by, like, MLMs and, like, anti-vaxxers. It's.
I mean, you want to talk about class signifiers, like having a kid is a class signifier.
But I love it. I love the drama. I love, like, watching the drama. Like, I love my mom Facebook groups. They're so much fun. There's someone, like, always, like, freaking out about, like, her husband cheating on her, or sometimes she's cheating on her husband. Except then once in a while, especially because I'm in, like, groups for kids with special needs, like, then they'll have, like, a baby die, and I'm like, god damn it, this is supposed to be fun for me.
Yeah.
To, like, the real sort of ruptures through the, like, drama of it all.
One of the things that we've been doing with our own child lately is watching Spider Noir, which is the new Nicolas Cage series that's about what if Spider-Man were a hard-boiled detective in the 30s. And
it's gorgeous.
It's very pretty.
So beautiful.
And, it reminds me that, like, one of the things that makes the detective in these older noir settings the outsider, right? The person who doesn't live the normal human life. One of the reasons that he's treated like shit by everybody he encounters is because this is a person who isn't married and doesn't have children.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that is part of that.
And, like, and they this is sort of the thing that they're getting at the beginning of the film of Long Goodbye, where he's like, I remember when people had jobs.
Yeah.
Right? I remember when people had families. I remember when, when people had children.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing that got destroyed by the American Cultural Revolution in the 60s was the idea of having a family and having children and having a job.
Yeah.
All of our institutions were burned to the ground at that point and replaced with nothing. And so, the detective walks around supposedly being an outsider, where meanwhile everyone he meets is more of a degenerate than he is.
Yeah. That's relatable, though. I get that. Yeah. I feel like that. It's like whenever you're, like, if you're a member of any kind of community or in-group or whatever, you're always like, okay, yeah, this is my community, and I'm allowed to complain about the things that bother me about it, but you're not. You know what I mean?
This was my reaction to the book last week.
Yeah,
I was like, no heterosexual may gaze upon this work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think, like, I don't know. I often feel this way for, like, with feminist criticism, like the way that, like I'm allowed to complain about certain trends in feminist criticism, but other people are not. Like, I'm allowed to make fun of life writing and, like, autoethnography, but if Andre does, I'm pissed. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's like, yeah.
I know better than to have ideas or thoughts.
Oh, Andre, that's not true. Okay, so he saves several animals throughout this film.
There are a lot of animals in the film.
He saves a dog on the road. There's the scene that I can't get over after he saved the dog where he, heavy smoker, chases Eileen's car and is like neck and neck with it. I'm like, how are you doing this? What is your cardiovascular system like? It was crazy. He's like a superhero in that scene.
And it goes on for a long time, too.
Yeah.
A couple of, like, almost catches her, and then she pulls away.
She's driving in a car in Los Angeles. That's crazy to me.
And then what was the animal that got out in front of the car and he had to, like, honk for a long time?
That was a dog.
That was the dog?
Yeah, that was the dog,
okay.
yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was, like, a duck or something.
Yeah, and then when he goes to Mexico, there's, like, dogs everywhere, which is great. Yeah.
I think maybe the fact that he constantly encounters dogs throughout the film is, possibly to give you the sense that he is the cat.
Oh.
Huh.
Tell me more.
Well, like, the way he is never emotionally affected by anything that ever happens, the way he sort of, like, goes to places where he's not supposed to be and ignores people who tell him not to be there. Like,
interesting.
A lot of the things about him as a character give a kind of feline quality.
Well, and the way the cat rejects the food that he puts into the brand of the cat's preferred, it reminds me of the rejection of the status quo that Marlowe performs throughout the movie.
That's a really good point. You're so smart. Everybody's so smart. I love that. Yeah, he is kind of like his cat. And is the cat named? It does not have a name, much like Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I think he calls him a jerk at one point.
Yeah, that's also.
I mean, why would you even give a cat a name?
I mean, I think it is weird when people like are
because your kid has fun doing it.
Yeah, but I usually just refer to Beast Boy as the cat or a cat because he doesn't respond to it.
I mean, they don't own property. They don't vote. Right? They don't pay taxes. So what do they need a name for?
When under Mumdanistan, cats will be able to vote. Cats and dogs living together, voting together, canvassing together.
If you own cats, you get to vote extra for each cat you have.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Millennial women are going to take over the world.
It's about damn time, folks.
It's about damn time, as Lizzo said.
We've characterized the protagonist of this film as being looked down upon, maybe seen as lower status. We find that he is throwing back the booze pretty much every opportunity. But at the same time, he is the most principled person. He's almost like, reminds me of Rorschach in Watchmen.
Oh, yeah,
with just the level of like, I mean, down to the like trench coat too, of like stubbornness.
Yeah.
And I wonder if to him, setting aside his rough edges, is this a film about somebody being moral in amoral times?
Absolutely. Or attempting to be and trying to get others to be as well. And then getting mad when they don't. Yeah. In that sense, it's resonant to, I think, contemporary themes.
Yeah, he's upset with the cops for not doing their job. He doesn't seem to get upset with them when they are, like, beating him up, right? And putting him in jail and interrogating him and torturing him, right? And violating his human rights. But he gets very upset with them when they refuse to investigate the death of Sylvia Lennox.
Well, he believes deeply in like roles and like what your role is your obligation that you have to perform, and here are the duties you have to perform, which is, again, very similar to the Tao, right? There's like, or I guess, I mean, the Shakers too, every.
But you can compare it to, say, for example, The Big Lebowski or Inherent Vice, and, these like films that are very heavily influenced by Long Goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't see that kind of like moral intensity.
Well, it's also very much in the position, I think this is very much a hangout movie. It's a movie where people are hanging out with each other. And then it made me think, like, maybe all detective movies are to an extent hangout movies because they hang out with these characters in order to get the information in order to solve their mystery. So they're, in a way, like, all detective movies are necessarily, in some capacity to varying degree, a hangout movie. Right?
Well, I think what it is that you have somebody who is moving from different hangouts to others.
Yeah.
Right? every time Philip Marlowe shows up someplace, he's like,
he's hanging out with space. The space is important.
He's invading somebody else's hangout. Right? He goes to Augustine's place, and the goons are just around hanging out. Right? He goes to the spa, the mental health facility, and people are just hanging out. Right? He goes to the Wade's house; they're hanging out. When he's in prison, everybody's hanging out.
What the fuck is up with the doctor, Veringer? What is his deal?
Well, he's one of those he's imitated in Inherent Vice by Martin Short.
Okay.
And what he is this kind of guy that lived in LA in the 70s who was a sort of half guru, half medical doctor who prescribed a bunch of stuff to people and sells himself as this open-minded hippie doctor, but really what he is he's just making money off of people.
Yeah,
and he's being a sexual creep.
This is a long history of...
He's Dr. Feelgood with a little bit of a gay villain.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite tropes, actually, is sort of the incompetent, manipulative, medical or psychological doctor or therapist. It's one of my favorite types. He's not the therapist in My Year of Rest and Relaxation, who is possibly on par with Philip Roth, one of the funniest characters of all time, Dr. Tuttle. But yeah, he's pretty good. That actor I also recognized, Henry Gibson. I've seen him in other stuff too.
Yeah, well, he appears later in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Paul Thomas Anderson, who made Inherent Vice.
Is he in Magnolia?
Yeah.
He is in Magnolia.
Yep.
You're right. That's crazy.
And so, Paul Thomas Anderson, obviously a giant fan of Robert Altman. He's the guy who's standing by to finish Prairie Home Companion in the event that Robert Altman dies while making the film. That it was a necessary condition for them getting the insurance to make that movie. And Paul Thomas Anderson, throughout his career, has made movies that are explicit and implicit references to different Robert Altman stuff. I think that the thing that we see in, say, for example, One Battle After Another that you see here is this kind of the idea that the things that are happening that are high stakes that are causing all of this catastrophe in these people's lives are also kind of weirdly dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
The events that occur are inexplicable. They seem to be randomly sorted.
That's what I love about Los Angeles as a city. When I first went to, I didn't think I would like LA. I love it. I know, Jean-Jacques. We will get you a snack.
Jean-Jacques, we're recording right now.
Jean-Jacques, come on, man. We'll be done soon, okay? I promise. Okay. But I love Los Angeles because it's very stupid and very shallow and dumb, but in really weird ways. Her with in the ways that Eileen with the dried apricots. You know what I mean? There's always something really weird going on. And I mean, Taos, New Mexico is like this too. There's always someone saying something really stupid, but in the strangest way possible. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is this the sort of useless hippie culture.
Yeah.
Right? Which is to say, not that the hippie culture is useless, but this is the culture of useless hippies.
I'm saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's and using Buddhist principles towards learned helplessness, is really interesting to me. I love that about LA.
Babe, to desire me to do this to-do list is to suffer.
I have a friend who's lived in LA for a long time now, and she was the first to get Botox for her migraines, she claimed. And yes, I know that Botox has evidential proof for helping with migraines. That is true. That is 100% not where she got it first. But she's that's what she says. She always says, she's oh, it's so great for my migraines. I'm just this shuts up. You're so stupid.
But that's the Didion thing. The idea that you go to Los Angeles so that you can live in a fantasy.
And the thing is, I think she actually thinks that she's telling the truth. I think she actually really does feel that that's why she did it. And I was that's not why you did it, dude. It's fine. Just own it, I don't know. That just seems like a very LA thing.
Well, the first person you have to fool with your fantasy is yourself. That's the point of the fantasy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's true.
It doesn't work if you don't believe it.
This is perfect, actually, because how does this film begin but with a rude but valid request for food.
Yeah.
And right here at the end, we've had the same.
Rude but valid is one of my favorite ways to approach encounters with people. I think it's so important to be valid.
And you have instilled that in your child.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
All right, so let's go get him some food.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.